Welcome to my Capstone Showcase, Reflections on Race, Class, and Culture, Gentrification in Harlem, 2000 to 2010. We're going to explore the question of how has gentrification endangered the cultural legacy of Harlem? We'll look at the history of Harlem, explore what gentrification is, ask what race has to do with it. Look at some of the changes that have occurred in the demographics in Harlem between 2000 and 2010. Why does the culture of Harlem matter? And what does the future hold? In 1658, the Dutch settled New Harlem and named it after the city of Harlem in the Netherlands. It was designed primarily to be a white suburb. Immigrants moved further north as land became available and transportation made it easier. There was overdevelopment based on speculation on the land, and that boom eventually went bust. Blacks moved into the area in 1910 because there was no place else for them to go. Segregation was in full force. And the migration after World War I brought blacks to the north in search of better jobs, better opportunity. The Black Renaissance sealed the state of Harlem as the Black Mecca because it was an opportunity for exposure to culture, literature here in New York. For many years, Harlem suffered from urban decay. There are many areas in Harlem. East Harlem, which is known as El Barrio, or Spanish Harlem, because of the large Hispanic population that settled there. West Harlem, which is a more diverse area and is the home to academic institutions such as Columbia University, Barnard College, Riverside Church, Union Theological, City College, and Central Harlem, which is the focus of our presentation, which borders on the south at Central Park North and 110th Street and 5th Avenue, and goes to the Harlem River and 155th Street. Now, what is gentrification? Well, as I mentioned earlier, Harlem had experienced a period of decay. There was low-income housing. The city had taken over properties. There was drugs, crime, everything that would make an area a ghetto was a reality in this area of New York. And over time, the area just succumbed to that depressed inner city state. Gentrification is the conversion of that area, a process of renewal and rebuilding of a deteriorating area, and the influx of middle class or more affluent people, which tends to displace poorer residents due to higher rents and property values. The changing demographics in Harlem definitely led to tensions, but there are some benefits, which included improved services and amenities such as grocery stores, entertainment complexes, restaurants, which can enhance the diversity of the neighborhood. One sign of gentrification is some upscale venues and markets. And as I wandered around Harlem, I noticed that there is work in progress. A number of commercial institutions are coming, and Whole Foods is among them. Now, gentrification tends to cater to the people with the money. And so, because people are moving into the area and want to have more food choices, this is one of the signs that gentrification is definitely taking place. The changing demographics in Harlem have been going on for quite some time. As you can see from this graph, whites were predominant in the early 1900s. The number of blacks peaked in the 1950s, but the decline for whites continued through 2000, and the decline for blacks was about 40%. Race has been a source of conflicts and continues to spark tensions between blacks, whites, and Latinos in Harlem. The concept of biological and sociological classification based on common ancestry or features or the color of someone's skin, singling out a group as inferior or superior, and the history of discrimination and disinvestment with little or no economic mobility has created tension. I'd like to speak for a while about some of the demographic changes, and I chose this one block to illustrate how impactful those changes have been. In 2000, the area of 124th Street and Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard, or 7th Avenue, was predominantly black. 13% of the population was black. In 2010, what changed? It is now 24% white and only 2% black. So it's now predominantly white. Traveling around Harlem, I found out that there's going to be a hotel. Starwood's new boutique hotel, the Aloft Harlem, is going into this space, and it has transformed that area. There are also luxury condos going in the area, and the prices on those condos are $300,000 to just over $1 million. That is pricing people out of the area. One of the things that I've explored is that Harlem has been the de facto cultural capital of African Americans for over 100 years. It was the home of the first Renaissance, and there is a rich history of music, art, and literature. People come to Harlem to get a taste of this black history. There is wonderful opportunities for tourism, and their cultural venues, such as the Schomburg and the Studio Museum. However, because of the changes that are taking place in Harlem, tourists are coming there and not getting a real feel. The soul food restaurants are gone, and many of the things that made Harlem Harlem have been gentrified. The question is there a way for Harlem to survive without a strong black presence? Harlem has been changing for over 400 years, from immigrants to the blacks that dominated the area for quite a time. And we know that gentrification is not all bad, but there must be economic opportunities developed for low-income residents. Trying to find out if we're going to be left with more questions than answers as we look toward the diversity that will take place in the new Harlem. What does the future hold? We don't know just yet, but we are hopeful that Harlem will recover and a new renaissance, steeped in the rich cultural history, will reemerge.